Approval of the agenda, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Pernell, a second.
I'll second.
Okay, is that you, John?
Yep.
John seconds, okay, any discussion or questions? Not, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, nay. Carries. Public comment 4.0, we have none. 5.0, consent agenda. I will need a motion to accept the consent agenda. We'll make a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Right, Mark? Right, any discussion or questions on that? Those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Those opposed, nay. That carries. Communication reports. Jim Trulock, Mark.
Well, good evening. I'll be real brief because you can pretty much read it, but I just was gonna highlight, we are excited to have all the concrete filled in around the bottom of the bleachers. That has been just a nightmare. Every single football game, the first 7 kids that walk through it explode about 10,000 rocks from the, out in the pavement or the asphalt and everything else. So that is really nice. That's, been fixed. You guys probably saw, we did host our first track meet since well over 10 years, probably pushing 15 years. It went overall pretty darn well. Smaller meet, but tomorrow we'll really get tested because we're hosting the Camden Conference meet. So it's good we have that to practice. If we can have it, I hear 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, so we'll see how that goes with pole vault and things like that. But we hope we don't have to postpone makeup day. For now, it is Thursday, which is also supposed to be windy. So you guys can take care of that, that'd be really helpful. It'd make a motion, no wind. Want to congratulate Mrs. Ankeny on her visual arts students. They did a really good job at Redwood Falls. And you can see how the students, fared there. And I'll have a report next month. I think Mrs. Pieper got back last night or today, but I don't have a report on how those 2 students did in Nashville. So again, I'll try to have some details on that next month. And lastly, you'll see all the playoff dates. If you guys are able to make it out to support any of these athletes and stuff on these dates, they always appreciate it. So other than that, unless you have some questions.
Any questions for Jim? If not, all right, thank you, Jim.
Welcome.
Bertram, you are next.
All right, good evening. Adam had asked if I would put together some data on area schools. So the Central Minnesota Division of MESPA, which is the Minnesota Elementary School Principals Association, collects this data each spring. So this is based on kind of the 54 schools in our region. And then I just kind of picked the schools that are closest to us. I kind of ran that data for you. So he was just curious to see where we ranked. I highlighted in kind of that cream color, those are the lowest. You'll see that we are the lowest in 2, and then the second in almost every other category. And then also just across the board on average, we're right around that 18 kids per classroom. So I feel pretty good about where our numbers are at there. Renville, no data from them. I reached out. They're a 2-section school across the board. Their smallest class is 28. I'm not sure which grade that is, so that's 14 or 14. Their biggest is 48, so that's 24 and 24. So they're just consistent across there. I would guess most of their classes are probably in the high 30s to low 40s. I think 48 is their biggest, and that 28 is their smallest. But so no exact data for them. Any questions on? I know you just got a chance to look at it. I just gave it to Adam this afternoon, and he asked I make a copy so I can share it with you today. So if you want to look through it and ask questions next month, that would be fine as well.
Yeah, I think it's super useful. Like we were talking, it seems like class sizes, anytime there's talk about them going up, like from teachers and parents, it's like you get some quick emotional responses. But I mean, it's really good to see. Like we are smallest class sizes in 2nd and 3rd, and second smallest in kindergarten, 1st, 4th, and not 5th, but very close. I mean, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
I appreciate the work that you put into this, but we are McCray.
And we don't have to follow what other districts do, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls from parents that are very concerned about the class sizes, because when we went for the referendum, we said we would have small class sizes. And I would like to continue to advocate for the fact that the 5th grade has 3 sections. If that
Right.
means it's a lower class size, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to offer then, and it is a great offering for families who want to come to the McRae district.
Absolutely.
So I think I'd really like to have those numbers. I know 50 was kind of the magic number, and if it's 51, well then we need to make those decisions sooner versus later. Bring back to the board for decision-making and discussion, so our community members can hear from each board member as to why or why not.
Absolutely. And next year, 5th grade is 3 sections.
So this is
This is-
current year.
This is this
Okay,
year's
this
data.
current year,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, oops, you give us just your rationale on, I mean, I know 51 is kind of a number, but what else do you use when you're evaluating this?
Well, I mean, the number really isn't mine. It comes from the district office on down, based on what our budget is. So I'm not advocating for a reduction in classes. I just have to make it work. So when we made that 1 FTE reduction last year, I had to look at what classes. Smallest classes would have been like kindergarten. And if you look at that, that's where we're really low, right? 15.3 compared to most schools in the 20s. But I just didn't feel good about starting out our youngest learners in a bigger class.
Yeah.
So, that K, first, second are the ones that I really try to keep those, as small as possible. So then you look at 3, 4, 5, where can they handle that? 6th grade, I deleted it because we don't have it, but that average is almost 27. It's much bigger. So it's not uncommon for that 5th and 6th grade classes to be a lot larger, and that's where we ended up at. So although it's big for us, you're right, we'd like to be small, it was average with the 53 schools. So a change for us, but not inconsistent with what other schools are doing. So I just make, I guess, the recommendation, and then it flows from there.
So is there, along with the methodology, anything about behaviors? I know we talked a couple months ago about the increase in IEPs and things like that. Is that part of the equation then also?
Or deciding which classes are gonna be.
Or how many class sizes? Like if we've got a large class, a larger class, and maybe we're teetering back and forth between 2 or 3 sections, do we look at behaviors? Do we look at IEPs in those grades?
Yeah, I would say all of those things play an important role in it. Just having a smaller class size doesn't necessarily equate to more learning, but it is easier to manage. So we look at the ability to manage the classroom, special needs that may go with that classroom as well. And then the age level of who can handle that size of class.
So then maybe can you share with us, like my understanding is that there's a computer program that divvies kids up into which class they go into. Is that the sole determination,
No.
or is there more information that goes behind?
Much more, yep. So Class Solver allows us to enter data on each kid. And then it will divide kids up based on their level of math, reading, special ed, behavior, language, peer friend groups. They list friends in their class and outside, so they match them up that way. But special ed has an input on both with teacher and also peers to be with. Classroom teachers have input on which kids maybe can be together and which kids need to be separated. So all those things play a role in it. And what we can do is just lock those in, and then the computer will do the randomization of it. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Can you also share with the influx of pairs over the last few years, how many of our classrooms have an additional adult to assist?
Well, most of them do. So, I mean, next year we'll add 3 with the SOTA grant, but we have special ed pairs that are in there for most of our tier 1 reading and math. And we also have title pairs that are in there for reading and math. So, for those that were on the tour last week, it's not uncommon to see pairs in the hall, pull out groups, pairs inside classrooms doing either small groups or else just assisting the teachers there. So, although you may see that with a 24 or 25 in a classroom, seldom would it be, I would probably say almost never would it be that number of kids with 1 adult in that classroom.
All right, anything else?
All right, I've got just a couple things to share with you, and then I'll move on. So on some of the events that we have, kind of a fun tradition here at McRae is a 5th grade formal lunch. So they get to come down a little bit early. You can see the tables are all set up for them. They have name tags, they have flowers and tablecloths, and then they have chicken Kiev. So on the left, you can see they start out with their salad, and then they have to wait till everyone has it, and they eat, and then they clear them all off, and they have chicken Kiev, and then they end with dessert. So a real fun event, and National Honor Society does the kind of waiting on the students. So they bring them their milk or their water, or clear their plates. And we had Ag Day on the 6th, I think the coldest day of the spring. We were out there for almost 2 hours. I knew it was cold when they put blankets on the pigs that were out there.
Yeah.
It was chilly. We had goats and cattle and sheep and horses and chickens, and then some just educational stations as well. I think there are 10 stations that the kids work through. So a real fun day despite the cold.
You talked about the calf that got out.
There was one calf and another animal. The cow lifted up the fence, and the calf got it. So that created some, and then I think a goat did as well.
I feel bad, it's making me put a blanket on me.
And then we were able to do that fundraiser this year that allowed us to bring, to purchase those roller skates. So they had 2 weeks of roller skating in Fayette. They can either use the ones that the school brought, or if they had their own, they could bring them in. If you go to the next slide, they do a really good job, and you can see the braces that they have on their wrists. That's, if someone gets hurt, it's usually their wrists from trying to catch themselves when they fall. So they do a good job with that. And then you can see that mat in the middle, they set that up so that students that are just learning start out there so the falls are a little bit safer, and then they eventually work out to the outside group. But they just had a blast. So, and the energy they have, they skated and skated for 30 minutes straight, so it was a lot of fun. So,
Do you have anything on your report that you want to talk on to, or?
only if you have questions for me.
I was just gonna say at the little school visit, you said, and thanks to 2180, those kids had gotten those little ukuleles in the music room, which was something new that looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
Didn't see anybody playing them that day, but. So they still do the recorder thing too?
They,
do?
yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and Miss Meyer does just a fantastic job with them. So she had lessons for them, but also they use them in the classroom, and then they use them at the concert as well. So they incorporated that into 2 of their songs, along with the recorders and a couple other musical instruments that go along with it. So she does a nice job of bringing in those different musical instruments the best that she can for our 4th and 5th graders. Yeah.
All right.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
Because I got some phone calls, and I think maybe another board member did too, so you can chime in. Can you share with us about the science and the STEAM activities? Has that been reduced, or are the kids just getting a half an hour of science in some of the elementary classes? Or has there been a change, or can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there was a change at the beginning of this school year we used to have a 3-week rotation. That allowed, well, it'd be easier if you could see it, but the old system had extra prep built in, so you might not see kids for a week, and then you'd see them 2 times this week, and then 1 time next week, and it was just a really complicated system to follow, but it allowed for a 45-minute period for STEAM. All of our other specials, all of our other blocks are 30 minutes. So Fayette is 30, music is 30, our wind time is 30. So it was more consistent to balance that out. So they still have Fayette every day, but then the other 30 minutes is either music or STEAM. And what that did is it allowed the teacher to see the students twice a week, every week. So especially for like concert time, you're trying to get ready for a concert, to not see students for an entire week got to be tough. So it just seemed to be a way to streamline our ability to access kids every week.
So the question to me was posed, did we eliminate science then, or just going with STEAM, or are they separate or together?
The
science?
Yes, so I mean, STEAM is still STEAM. So we changed teachers this year, but we had the same content. So Renee had left all of the folders that we had. So we still had access to all of that.
So the science is still embedded.
Yes, yep, so STEAM is still basically science, right, and then we have the A for some art that goes with it. But the idea is that's where the students get their science, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
As far as like total hours per year though, that pretty much is equal from the old system to the new or relatively close?
Yeah, I think if you ran the math, obviously at 45 minutes, you're gonna have a little bit more time. But you're also gonna have big gaps where you don't see those kids for a week and a half until it's that next rotation. So what do you bring back? Your project has to end because you're not gonna start a project and then wait 6 class periods before you come back to it. So at 30 minutes, there's gonna be less minutes, but I think a better educational fit when you don't have to have those long breaks.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions? All right, thank you, Tom. Okay, who's on the list? Oh, Judd Wheatley, you are next.
Thank you. You're gonna notice, Creature of Habit, same format, just updated with the pertinent information, highlighting the senior class. This is, the photograph that was taken at, homecoming, so this was the beginning of the school year. Looking at the demographics, you can see we're almost split right down the middle as far as males and females. And then our ML is extremely low and our special education is low. So attendance could be a little bit higher. We do sometimes see the senior class tends to wander a little bit more when it comes to attendance. Overall, we're not seeing the attendance impact grades too much, I would say. You know, you will see naturally that some of us students who struggle probably have worse attendance. But that's no different than any grade. It's your kids are going to struggle or are frequently not here. Got moved a little bit. Excellent participation across the school year throughout the entire class. They're wonderful participants. Especially highlighting like FFA and then your larger sports. But again, you're going to see just a little bit here and there, pretty much every season. Our Buddies program, we ended up, we have 8 mentors within the Buddies. So again, the Buddies program is where we take some of our more at-risk middle school students and we pair them with an older student to serve. So they can talk about schoolwork, attendance, home life a little bit. And they do that while they're playing games like Battleship and Spot It, if you've ever played that. Just keep it nice and casual. That was, playing games with kids is one thing that when I was doing my at-risk stuff, sitting down playing cards with the boys so I could get them to open up, and all of a sudden you have this whole conversation going and you're focused more on the game, but your mouth and brain are going with what the conversation is. So it's a great way for the kids to get that experience with the older mentors. Going again with the quarterly rotation, again, this is something that Mrs. Mock does. I would like to update this slide just verbally for you that we are doing our Wolverine Way Award again this year. We did it at the end of the year last year. The data for that is being accumulated. So we have our parameters for attendance, for grades, for tardiness, all that goes into it. And then there will be handwritten to us, but typed into a spreadsheet. And then the parents will get those kind notes from the teachers for the kids that qualify for the Wolverine Way Award. So that will be coming over the next few weeks. Experiences for 12th grade. We've got the senior lunch that happens at homecoming. They had their class trip was to Urban Air. Senior day is May 26th. We also had an impromptu skip day this last week. And so I'm not counting that as an experience, but that was one thing that it happened. I want to acknowledge it at least. Then on the senior day, I would encourage you to come. We've got our awards ceremony at 8:30, and then we'll do the elementary walk. They'll turn in their devices, and then we'll have commencement practice. So as soon as they're done with commencement practice, and then both Sue and I are very comfortable with some of the squirreliness that might happen and make sure everything's on track, then we'll go ahead and be out. They'll be out right around lunchtime on the 26th. So then they won't need to be here for the remainder of the time up until Friday, unless their service hours are not done, which I would expect them to be outside completing service hours, or if their grades are not on track for the credits. And so we have in essence, it ends up being about a 24-hour period that kids can sit in the hub and get some extra support so they can try and raise their grades if necessary. And I've been give me 1 second, Ben. And I've had, just last week would have been, I believe it was on Thursday, I sat and called 10 different students in to talk to them either about their service hours or about their grades or both, just to make sure that we're staying on top of it. And so that's it. It takes a village. I'll talk a little bit more about the service hours. I know I gave you a brief update in the board only packet, but okay, perfect. And then commencement on the 29th, I will connect with the 3 of you who will be at commencement. And it's as simple as smiling and shaking hands, and you're gonna be good to go. And then before the video, Greg, if you would please hold off. As far as the percentage rate, you saw that it went up 27%. Thank goodness. Very happy with that. Still not where we want it. Again, that was my intent in talking with those kids. To get it to that point, we have sent parent letters out to just kind of lay the blunt truth out there for them. And then the other part was we called all of the seniors into the auditorium and we gave them access to a spreadsheet so that they could find those hours. Now, we're not going to hand feed the hours to them, but they were all given the information. So, for instance, Kathy Cabanis, she could use the daycare playground equipment, could be power washed. She threw that out there as an opportunity for kids to be able to earn some hours. So we had a ton of different opportunities the kids could do in order to get their time. So there's very plainly said, but there's really no excuse. But some are dragging their feet all the way up to the very end here. And so we're just trying to nurture it as best we can. And I'll do another check-in this week and I'll do another check-in next week. And hopefully the number will get smaller and smaller and smaller. We'll be good to go. And this is Greg on the streets. Greg did a video talking to different kids in the halls, right?
Yeah, I just went around and I didn't get all the seniors. I get some more this next week before I share this video publicly. But I went around and asked seniors what advice they would have for underclassmen.
Okay. Alright, what's your advice for underclassmen? My advice for underclassmen is to be themselves.
Smallest things go a long way, so always be nice to everyone. My advice to underclassmen is take advantage of those 4 years. You won't believe how fast it goes, and most importantly, have fun and be kind to everyone. Don't be a stranger.
Be kind to everyone and brighten up someone's day because one small thing can go a long way.
Don't wait until your senior and junior year to care about your grades.
Don't let the pain of the grind stop you, because the pain of regret is even worse.
People change, things go wrong. Just remember life goes on. It's better to turn in partial work than no work.
A piece of advice for underclassmen would be stay on top of your grades and make sure your friends are nice.
You're your own worst critic. Be kind to yourself. Always stay humble and kind, and also don't forget to smile.
Don't care as much as you think they do, so just be yourself.
Don't procrastinate.
Don't open your phone just for a second while doing homework. Oh, marry rich.
Live life to the fullest and do things while you can as a kid.
Hold out though. Don't hang out with the wrong people, they'll get you into bad stuff.
Do your homework, get it in on time, and be respectful to your teachers.
Don't use AI. Don't procrastinate.
Think for yourself and don't let the internet
Smooth your brain.
Just have fun when you're young. And make sure everything counts for you get old enough to get a job.
Friends up to get through school.
My advice for underclassmen is to get your work done and don't mess around.
Don't let your friends change who you're meant to be.
We love you, seniors. We're gonna miss you.
And then just a couple wrap up things. Prom was great. We had that 2 Fridays ago. Great opportunity, compliments from the conference center at Wilmer, which was wonderful to hear. And then, as has become tradition, I will have the discipline data report for you in June when we have the meeting. Then, so I can tell you this year has been very quiet, which has been fantastic. So very happy. Any questions?
Any questions for Judge?
Maybe you can talk a little bit about the testing changes that were the last.
Thank you, and you
thing.
brought that up in my office. Thank you. So the CAPTE test, I gave the percentage on, or the number of students from the senior class that would impact. As a whole, the numbers are lower than what we were expecting. We're in the midst of coming through and finalizing the schedule. We're going to be utilizing some study hall time in order to be able to capture that time to reinforce the reading elements for the students. At this point, everything I've been told is that this is a requirement from the state, so it's not something that people can opt out of. And so we have to, I mean, it is paramount for us to make sure that the kids can read, but now the READ Act kind of codifies that, I would say. As far as, I can't remember what question you asked specifically. Is there anything from that slide?
Just you're changing how some of the interventions go. I was just curious about what the change is.
So really the change was, we have a half-time dedicated interventionist that was hired. His name is Cody Schaefer. He's going to be filling Brenna Schwitter's Minnesota history part-time and then doing part-time for the intervention. By far our largest group would be the middle school kids. Not a surprise there by any means. And so we've been meeting with, her name is Andy Lanning. She works for the company that produces CAPTE. And then we're going to be meeting with Tricia Christopher from the Service Co-op. And they're providing feedback and giving us resources to be able to use, because as an unfunded mandate, we know how that operates, and we're trying to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible and providing services and resources for the kids that can still meet the needs of the program and the needs of their reading, but at the same time, making sure that we're doing it responsibly. And so the feedback from them is paramount, because this is new for everybody and there's no model to follow. The primary responsibility is that we have the interventionists, we're providing the resources, and the interventionists have to be trained within by one of the programs like the letters that you've heard so much about over the last few years. Other than that, Mrs. Brisley is working on the schedule in order to make sure that we have the study hall set up for that intervention time to happen. And then we're going to be capturing a little bit from a couple different individuals to maybe work with some high school kids on that, try and keep the groups a little bit lower. So by and large, it's a very big picture element and things are starting to fall into place. So I'm happy. If it was August right now, I would be concerned, but I know it would work. With where we're at right now, I'm very comfortable with it. But the picture, the schedule will give a very clear picture of what the needs of those kids are going to look like to be able to service them. That'll be big when that's done.
What was the percentage of kids who haven't, seniors that don't have their service hours on? Did you say that?
So it went from 55 to 82% complete.
Okay.
So up 27% complete.
A few weeks ago.
Kids are where there's like 24 hours in a day.
They've gotten to the point to where I call them into my office and they just let me go, yes, I know my hours aren't turned in. So yeah, they're very well aware. And as in the past, I've heard a number of, they're sitting on my dresser, my mom has them, I'm waiting to get the last couple signatures. By and large, well, not by and large, we have not had anybody in my 4 previous years to this not be able to get them complete. And so if we have to drag them across the finish line, we will.
Be interesting to hear, because a lot of kids that at our church, I always tell them, undecided.
Yes.
And some of them already have most of their hours done already.
Well, and one of the interesting side effects of putting that spreadsheet out there with all the service hour opportunities, the younger kids are starting to gobble them up. And I'm very proud of them for doing that, because it's out there. You can't, there's only so much fish in the pond, or so much food in the pond for the fish to be able to eat. So the young kids getting after it's good. And that's how you get the ones that have the purple ropes that complete the 160 hours, which, by the way, we have 10 of this graduating class.
Well, I was gonna say the advice about procrastination is probably
Yeah.
a result of.
Yes. Yeah, and grades, and there was a couple of things I was like,
Yeah.
that would be good for you to follow.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it is challenging for busy kids who are involved in a
Yes.
lot of things to get the hours. So, it is a
church is the built-in mechanism for
Yes.
a lot of hours to
Yeah.
get done. And so that's a very frequent thing for us to see.
Who should we contact? Like, we are always looking for volunteers for our Raymond Harvest Festival, for fundraisers that we do.
Yep.
Things like that. Is that something that we get a hold of you?
You could reach out to
Yeah.
me with the opportunities, or Risley would be another one that could be reached out to. The idea of the spreadsheet was something that was new this year because the need was so great from the class. Just having something as a spreadsheet moving forward for anybody to come say, hey, I'm looking for some opportunities. I don't have anything built in. What would be good? What would you recommend? That would be a wonderful thing for us to just keep going.
Yeah, I think that spreadsheet sounds like a good idea, because there's always gonna be kids that just kind of don't know what they could do, and that's.
Sometimes it's harder
Full of
to ask than
ideas.
it is to just do the hours.
Yeah, right. Right. Any other questions for Judd? All right, thanks, Judd.
Thank you.
All right, that a new ordinance.
Yes, so on May 15th, this Friday, we're gonna have our first ever signing day for people going into the world of education. So we have 6 seniors signing, and then all gonna be run by the staff. We're gonna have the tables set up, they're gonna sign where they're going. The 3 SOTA students already had one in Wilmer. Well, the 6 of them, but our 3 went up theirs because they're the overarching, but we have 3 other students going into the field. So we'll have a big signing day for that as well. Yeah. And then, if you haven't been to Raymond and seen the work that the softball team and the group of volunteers have done, go check out the field, hopefully on a game day, because otherwise they cover it with tarps. But they have a clay batting area, so it looks like it's dark, and the pitching mound has clay in it. It's very hard to take care of, and they're doing a great job, but it's beautiful, and I know it got washed out last year. Well, they came through, and it's just beautiful. The fencing has the yellow around it for safety, but it's just really sharp. The grass is beautiful. They really did a nice job, so if you can get out there and look, and if you get a chance to thank our coaches and the people that helped. I don't like to single everybody out, but one of the people in here has done a lot of work. But with that, we got to know that it's going to have limited access for youth baseball, but it's no longer a normal field. It is a high competition, it's state of the art. I don't see many high schools with clay, or even, the colleges, they have their own, but it's nice. So we had to move some bases, we're gonna move some more, we have some more things here for the youth. But that field is really nice. Jim's gonna talk about this, but you can see that's our new pad for the shed that's going out back, but that company's come in and they put a lot of work. I learned that the garage door is gonna line up with the starting area. I would have never thought of that, but it's gonna be square. And if it's not, you gotta talk to John, because that's his baby, but Jim, do you wanna share a little bit about this?
No, I just went out and took a picture, and they have poured that apron the next day, and I think John said the same day they went and filled that area at the bottom of the grandstand. But John's the one that made it clear, they lined this thing up perfectly with the starting line for the track, so it's square, and we're gonna get a drone over the top and make sure, and if not, we're gonna break it up and redo it again, so.
But you can see at least it's started. It's gonna be beautiful when it's all done. It's gonna enhance the complex. So we're really excited that'll be done. Our students, and you heard earlier, went to the Minnesota State High School League competition. These are pictures of the excellence that earned the excellent award. But Ben was gonna share about the center one. First, you gotta think, is that fake or is it a real cake? And when you see it down our hallway, you're gonna think it's real. She did a great job, but Ben, how did she do that?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, it tasted terrible. So might look nice. I have no idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
These were excellent or superiors?
So the top, superior, this is the best of the best.
Although that being said, if you would see Eloise's 6th grade Minnesota history,
you did say
she didn't help a ton. I think Mr. Schroeder would have proud of me. I didn't help with that at all. Promise.
No, but as you can see, our students are excelling in just another area, so it's just nice to see their hard work. And there's a bunch of the next level down, that would be the excellence, right, Jim?
Yes.
They're out for display for.
We're disappointed, nobody did make it to state, and then we had some really outstanding, I guess, projects.
So, we try to bring in a lot of hands-on so students can get real-life experiences. So the person under the M is the creator. He created Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and he came to speak to our students. In the bottom picture, we get rave reviews how professional and kind our nutrition staff is. So he had his photo taken with them, and then they sent it to me. But really nice, I got some samples. But his story, he liked French toast, is what I'm being told growing up. And when he got to work, he created this, and the students seemed to like it. And it was just a real neat experience that they have as a real life creator came in and showed them and talked to him about, the whole process and how he came up with this concept.
If I could add to that.
Yes.
Please. So the gentleman is the father of Megan Harms. Megan is one of our substance use disorder counselors that comes in from Woodland Centers. And so it was something that she brought forward as an opportunity to bring her dad in. And he actually spoke to the food chemistry group was the class that he went into. And so just another one of those connections that that we had made. The substance use, the SUD grant through Woodland Centers was something that we'd started, I believe it was 3, if not 4 years ago. And then when the federal government cut back on the grants this year, we lost her, which was a detriment to our kids. Thankfully, some of the funding has come back, and so she's able to come in and meet with the kids. I believe it's every 2 weeks. And so it's an opportunity for the kids to meet with her, but for her to think of our school as a and her father as a resource to come in and meet with our kids was fantastic. So I think everybody got to have some, and they brought, it was a cart full of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then leftovers came around, so I just snagged one as a memory.
So as you know, we recently went through the interview process for an activities director, and the reason this picture is there is our students on the second day, just for the finalists, each had they had 11 questions that they were supposed to do it while they're touring, but the first candidate was local. He didn't need a tour. And then when I debriefed with the students, they said, now, you guys have a plan to be going over these 11 questions as you're showing the gym, the auditorium, the green room. And one of them went, can we just meet in here? So this became their comfort space. And it actually worked out very well. They talked, their 11 questions came down to one answer. So they didn't have to debrief a lot, but they talked about it, they analyzed it, and it's just another way that we can give students a voice in their future. And it just became, so this whole process was a piece of the puzzle. So the first day, you can see is, it says activities. So every person in the room had a computer. This became their voice. So no one person could control the narrative. So from there, they put the person's name, they put their name, and they went through the questions, and at the end, they could add comments. And then at the end, it came to, goes to an Excel sheet where I can see first the questions. And for me, I needed to see ideally 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, kind of like a bell curve. Not everybody should get 5s, and it's a poorly written question by Adam or the team, but I went through them all, so I'll take all the heat. And so we saw a lot of bell curves, is what's, what I want, so there was a lot of thought going into it. And then from there, you can break it into an Excel spreadsheet. I can look how each person answered and their individual comments. And then it breaks it down from their voice, who do they think finished first, second, third, or fourth. So from that group, the team, and in this group, Kim and Jed were in on the team. We took the top, we were gonna take top 2 or 3, but it made sense with the variety of answers, and then I graded them. So they might not, and one of them knew who I was, 2 probably knew who I was. But otherwise, I just, hi, how you doing? Because there was no clerical that day. So I got to let them in and just get to see them informally, see how they could relate. Hopefully other people would walk in, would they say hi? And then from there, then they met with the kids here, kind of an icebreaker. And then they went into a room with just Kim and I, and we had another 11 questions based on some categorical areas. And then from there, I was getting calls beforehand for reference. People would just call, here, here's what I think you should know. And then we checked references. Jim's part was totally away because he's leaving, but he shared his insight, and he could see who the candidates were, and he did some checking for us, but there's no pressure on him. We just appreciated any help he would give. So from those, each puzzle piece, we fit who would be the right fit for us. So it wasn't just a 130-minute interview. It was multifaceted. Everybody had input. The team that was chosen was very deliberate. There was people that did fine arts, people that only fine arts, people that only coached, people that did activities and athletics. So there was 10 people, and then we had people that were busy that day. So when they stepped out, with the exception of one person, we made a call, but otherwise the team was pretty representative of who we are. So then we took all that information. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, from after us, then they would go meet with Judd one-on-one because it's the high school, so middle school, so he got some other input. So any questions about how all that went? Okay. So here's what I'm talking about, the questions here, you know, they read them, and then that would be their answers. So that's just to make sure you can see it's not all 5s, not all 2s, but that's the group consensus from all 10 people. Then, you know, we had the tours the last week, and, you know, 2 of the members came. The middle one is really unique. That's from our rotation for the fine arts, and Judd, you can share more if you want, but it was shared with me. This is the first time in all their middle school rotation that they actually get to do work in the wood shop. Is this one rotation? And the girls,
The cutting boards you're talking about?
Yeah.
this rotation, and that's what they made was the boards. And some were charcuterie boards, weren't they? Well, that's what I thought she said with all the
Yeah.
different color woods.
Right.
They were sharp. They looked
Yeah.
nice.
So these were 2 unpolished ones. We didn't get the pictures. The far 2 on the left. So the 5th grader, you know, I've said it before, how the 5th graders come see me 3 to 4 times a week before school. They choose to give up their time, and they come storming out. There's anywhere from 5 to 12 of them. But we talk about apple juice. They weren't happy with the new apple juice and why, and how they like the new apple juice, and the whole wheat donuts. We've done their tests. They had MCA tests and how they were preparing. They were not fans of the formal dinner seating because they didn't want to go boy, girl, boy, girl. And on the other side, you got to go girl, boy. But it turned out that wasn't true, but that was what they had in their heads.
They were some of them had. Yes, we heard.
We don't want to eat cooties.
Yeah,
Who wants cooties?
Yeah. So
Oh, unanimous,
Yeah.
yeah.
they shared that with the board about, you know, what's going on. Well, what's nice is that the student voice is just echoed. They like to share what's going good and what they think could be fixed. And the FAR group we got to see in art and the 3D printer in the top. So that was just a great day. Students shared a lot. Judd and Todd did fabulous. And then this one was, we saw the middle schoolers. We learned about weather. And they got to ask some questions. And then Mark was in the top. This daughter was excited to see him. In one of our other classes, she was hopeful we'd leave soon. And then, where's the one? Oh, in the bottom, that was wasn't that the social studies class? She wasn't very happy that we stopped by for that long either. So it was a great day, and if you guys wanna share any of your experiences, but overall, I thought it went well, and if you have any questions for me, I can answer.
I always love those tours. It, you know, sitting in here once a month, you don't always get the full picture, and that helps fill in some of the gaps for us. And yeah, it is nice to embarrass my kids a little bit.
Is that time of year what you like, or do you wanna do it different? Or do you wanna do it twice?
I think that's good.
As far as
Yeah,
time of year, I
yeah.
don't,
Yeah, I
whatever.
think it's
Yeah,
a nice time.
right.
That's okay.
And I definitely enjoyed it. Like John said, just being able to kind of see what's going on, but just really it's fun to see the relationships with the students and their teachers, and all the staff are exceptional. You know, going around the school, like very welcoming, very pleasant, very supportive of the students. Like it's a really good vibe and really positive energy.
Lots of
Like, everybody-
happiness.
Yes, lots of happiness.
Yeah.
Lots of happy kids.
It was nice to see them asking you the weather question.
Yeah.
They said, I told them you knew the answer, so.
Oh.
Well, I didn't know it, so that's what I said, let's get,
Yeah, it was good.
yeah.
It was
Well, thank you.
I have to say, John's daughter was walking down the office. She was one of them included on the activities questions. And I said, seriously? I said, you're trying to replace me? And I thought, wow, she talks so cute. She goes, I have not had the privilege of having Mr. Trulock as a teacher. And I'm like, I said, I'm Mr. Trulock. She goes, I know. It was really sweet the way she worded it.
Great. Anybody else have any questions? I do appreciate the tour. It's always kind of fun to see how things kind of work behind the scenes too a little bit, instead
Yeah.
of just exactly what's going on in the classroom per se.
Yeah, you can see how hard people try. I mean, in those, you know, just talking to teachers or
Yeah.
even talking to kids too. It's like, there's not slacking off. It's,
Yeah.
we're here to do something.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see.
All right, any other questions for Adam?
I was just gonna ask on the Maynard lighting, you had it on your report, like,
Yeah.
any like serious progress yet, or it's still
No.
kind of looking, kicking tires kind of thing?
Kicking tires, and
Okay.
Yeah.
we're hopeful,
You
but
haven't heard back.
Haven't heard back.
Yeah.
Have they come and looked at them?
no.
Oh, they're not even.
I offered to meet Wyndham over there. Their activities director called me and they need some baseball lights, I think, but I haven't heard back.
Oh, okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll go to 6.2 committee reports. Mark, you got a little update on the 2180?
Yeah, 2180 did, the coupon rate was an online auction, and it was actually the most successful online auction that we've had so far. So that was really good, so we had some really fun items. So thanks to community members that donate that, we tell them thank you, but thank you. And then the pulled pork meal went over really well. We had some folks who made some big donations to help cover the cost of the pork and donated buns, and a lot of good support from the community. That went really well. So we haven't done the total math yet, but it was a really good couple of events. So it's nice to, yeah, get a lot of community involvement. So it's good.
Right, good. Success, a success. Good. Okay, 6.3 board discussion. We have a couple of items on here. Let's start with the 9 through 12 McRae student admission fees, which we tabled from last time. Thoughts? Ben, you got an idea?
I have a motion, if we wanna do a motion, and then we can have discussion after. Just cause this opens it up to, that's what we're gonna do.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, I move that the school board approve a one-year trial program allowing students grades 9 through 12 who participate in any extracurricular activity to receive a complimentary student pass for all home games. And then at the conclusion of that year, at the end of the year, we'll reassess, look at the financial impact, and determine whether or not we should continue it, modify it, or discontinue it. So 1 year trial period, 9 through 12.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay, good.
So we're allowed, okay, I just want to make sure I have notes that I can write it out better. Allow 9 through 12 students, if they're in an activity, they get a complimentary student pass to get into all home events.
I think that's one of the things that should be open to discussion. I think we should talk about that, what that looks like, if we want, there's some wiggle room there, if we need to make a change to that motion, totally fine with that.
Right, whether it's all activities or just sports.
Or anybody 9th through 12th, has access to a pass. But right now, the way that I have it here is any student 9th through 12th who participates in an extracurricular activity.
Can I add a wrinkle?
Sure.
What about tying in successful completion of the activity? So if it was for, say, fall activities next year, there would be anybody spring who completed the season. So to cut out the, I'm gonna go out, I did it for 2 weeks, and then I decided to quit. And it's splitting hairs to a degree, because support is support is support, but I just wanted to bring it up as a question.
And that would be reflected on their 8th grade season then?
So anybody who participated at spring now would be able to have access to that pass for fall. So tie it from the previous season to, that way you have that, in my eyes, the completion component of the commitment to the activity, regardless of what the activity is.
And to me, an extracurricular activity is FFA, is, any, not just sports, it could be anything. And I think the point was brought up before that that's gonna be most kids. So should we even have that be a stipulation? Should we just say all students 9 through 12 instead of who participate in extracurricular activity? So, but
Do you have an idea about the percentage? Is it close to 90% kids or?
I couldn't speculate, I'm sorry.
Do you know, I mean, I remember,
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I
I'm just curious.
get it.
I thought, remember, like hearing before, when we talked about it the first time, you said like most kids, like the vast majority of the classes
We do,
participate.
we do that percentage each season, so you guys can look back
Yeah,
on the board reports and see what it was for fall, see what it was for winter, and see what it was for last spring, and I can go get my computer and look at that too.
That's fine.
Because we do it by season.
yeah.
Well, it would also be hard to just pinpoint the spring sports for next year, because what if you're just a winter activity participant?
Right.
It might be a record keeping.
I guess I don't know the logistics, although if it's passive, that would be my next step, is to kind of help figure out some logistics of this.
Sure.
But I think it could be as simple as you have a form, in order to get this passed, you have to fill out a form. And so the form, you write it, maybe you have to have you have to have a coach, or you have to have whoever is your extracurricular teacher or whatever, they have to sign it, and then you hand it in, and that's when you get passed. I mean, it could just be, I don't think it has to be like, you're gonna, lose this pass, or, I mean, we're trying to make it good for the kids to be at the events, and so I think it could be as simple as that.
So you would be committing to events at the beginning of the school year that might not be happening for several months, because you're gonna want your pass for the entire year.
Yeah, I would say works just exactly the same as the student pass, right?
Which you only need it through the first 2 seasons, because we don't charge, they're not good for playoffs or conference, anything like that. For instance, tomorrow we charge no passes, it's a conference meet.
Right.
So it would only be for the spring and fall, the fall and winter seasons.
It would work exactly the same as a student pass right now, we won't charge for it.
And that will cost the district now that it's gonna be online too, but.
Yep, and I think that would be, one of the reasons why the stipulation of the 1-year trial.
So does it count if you're in, like, BPA or knowledgeable or all of that stuff?
If we tie it to a extracurricular activity.
So
obviously we get rid of
So
that.
then kids would have to decide they're gonna be knowledgeable at the beginning of the school year, or how does that work? Or when did they, you know what I mean, is when did they get that pass?
That's what I was curious, is it gonna be based, like, did you go for, did you participate in any sort of extracurricular last year, so like, say we're talking to ninth grader? You know, yes or no, if so, what was it?
Yeah.
And then that could then get you the pass for ninth grade.
Yeah, I would say. But you have to you want to pass, you have to find your coach.
I like that idea.
That way.
Maybe have a universal form. Each 9-12 kid gets it, and they have to go to the activity supervisor or coach that they participated in. That would sign off, yes, they were.
That was just to kind of get the ball moving. I mean, I'm not, if there's other ways or I'm totally open to it. I just, and I'm totally up for changing how, whatever you guys think. I just thought, get the ball moving on it. It's been on there for a couple months, and so.
Oh, no, I like the idea that it'd just be a 1-year trial, we can see how it goes. If it's not the whole student body, we're starting with the older students and hopefully more mature and hopefully less shenanigans or, you know, that kind of risk anyway. But yeah, I like the thought put into it, I'd be willing to try it.
So a student pass next year will look like what? Will they still get a paper card, or is it everything is electronic?
Yep.
So what?
We didn't have paper cards this year.
Okay. So,
They can print it off if they don't have, like, for the kids that didn't have maybe a smartphone or something like that, mom and dad can print that, what do you call the little square?
QR code.
QR code, yeah. Square.
So they'll just get it on their phone.
Yes.
And you just.
Or their mom and dad can print it off for them, they can show it.
But that's something we can work through.
Yeah,
Maybe, because it's only good at home games.
Yeah.
So maybe they get a hard, like a credit card.
Or like
with their
what we
name and
as a
picture.
board,
Just a
we
laminated
get a
one.
laminated
Yeah.
one. It's a little harder to track, but yeah, like I said, I'm willing to step in and help with some logistic stuff too, but this wasn't all the details, it's just whether or not I say we should do
Do
it.
we have any information from other districts that do something like this? Like, you know, how they go about it or how they did recoup the costs at the time when they implemented it? I was not at that meeting that you had the discussion on it, so repeating questions, sorry.
I don't know if we ever put a number to what that group of people, I mean, the money raised from them alone ever was. So,
It was around 11,000.
okay, so what would be the number that we say is acceptable to say at the end of our 1-year period that we would try again or do, extend
The
it? Is there-
11,000 is the, all of the pass sales or admission or?
Or just those
students?
Admissions and student season passes, that was what Kayla came up with.
Of all students, right?
Yeah.
It would-
Yeah,
And
student
visitors.
based, not anything with adult tickets
Right.
at all.
So I mean, like, for a benchmark, like, after our 1-year trial, are we gonna say this was good enough, or do we wanna say, like, right now, what that would be?
I think-
I mean, we're not willing to give
that-
$11,000 away, but what's the number?
Yeah, how are you gonna?
My recommendation would be look at like this season's or overall sales compared to next season's. You realize you gotta take some things into consideration. Our girls' basketball really pulled in fans this year. It may not be the same next year. So you always have to take that into consideration, but you can always pull the numbers and see, hey, we only lost $4,000 compared to what we pulled in last year. I think it's hard to set a number now, but it's something you guys can look at that time and do a little comparison.
I think the financial situation of the district's gonna ebb and flow.
Yeah.
There might be times when it's very lean and what we think is a reasonable number now might
Not-
be very different.
Yeah.
from now.
And the other thought on it is it something that we should coincide with a dollar increase in the adult admission or $5 on the participation fee, or, it's something to that effect.
I think we talked about changing the senior, wasn't there a senior discount?
They don't pay.
Yeah, so
They're
it's all free.
Okay.
I'd hate to
Well-
add activity costs. I mean, we're pretty fair with that already, and we
Right.
really want our kids participating.
Yeah.
And we've done some good things the last few years, having a student out of pocket of 200, a family out of pocket of 400, and, you know, to say we're gonna start letting people in for free and now we're gonna penalize the kids participating.
Sure.
That, I mean, again, that's just my opinion. I won't be here.
And what is the adult admission come to the door rate right now, 7 or 8?
I think we're at 7.
7, okay.
Section meets and went to 10.
But this pass, to be clear, won't affect that. They're gonna have to pay 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sections, yes, yes.
It would just be the home events, and, yeah.
And maybe as a checklist, as we're going, we can ask the activities director for a monthly report on how many students are coming, how many home students to the best guess. You know, how are they acting? If it's been a dramatic increase, does he need any help? That way you're informed all year how it's going, and at the end of the year, he can give a baseline report of his impressions of how it went.
You could also have at that sheet that they have to get their coach to sign. You could have a commitment that they understand that this is a privilege, it's not a right, and if it's abused, the school district has full rights to take it away. So, and they sign that, and they know it, and so.
It might even be nice if there's a way as a ticket taker just to do a tally mark as to how many are being used.
I think if it's a hard laminated card, I think you have to do something like that. I mean, we need stats one way. If it becomes a digital way, then
We
you
can't do that. With this bound agreement, we have to do things electronically to get that program for free.
But that's it for purchases, right?
But even student passes have to go through that. And then that's what they're giving us, that whole package for all of it is for free. We're gonna get charged nothing. And again, there's no problem. We can give that season pass, you know, electronically.
Yeah.
We're trying to get away from, we're trying to save some money, one, and get away from having to print cards. Yeah, I can't tell you how often people want another one, they're lost, and then we, you know, it's not like we put pictures on them or anything like that. It's a common occurrence with even punch cards. Yeah, I had 8 punches left, lost it, you know.
Yeah,
So-
if we can do it digitally and it's not
Mhm.
too
Right.
labor intensive, that makes some sense.
I would imagine it's easy to get the data then too.
Easier.
Oh, they'll give us data on everything, that's right, everybody that goes in, including staff. Everybody will go through the digital ticketing from now on, which we have never had those figures before, because everybody just walks by and flashes a badge or walks by. All seniors, no data ever on any of the attendance and those type of people. So now we will have, everybody will go through and scan, even if we choose seniors are free, we're gonna have detailed data on who's coming in.
So are they able then to pull out the 9th through 12th grade possibly?
I would say they can do anything. Now, again, we're still trying to figure it out,
So
but
it won't
I
be
sure get the impression.
What it will be is whoever has that card, so that'll be a subcategory.
It's
whoever
another
has that
option,
student
Yeah.
card.
another.
So they don't really have to separate it. It's
I can't say for sure, but I sure, the way they made it believe their detailed record keeping, I would guess if we specify that this group is this certain QR code, then I would guess we'll get those.
The hard part that I have is taking it away. You know, we get to a year from now and we can't do this anymore. I just hate taking it, same with even taking it away from the seniors. You've done it for years that way, and now you gotta pay, so.
I did say that too, and I mean, all of a sudden McCray, we're on the downslide of finances, and we're looking, now we gotta cut coaches, but we're still letting everybody in free, and,
Yeah.
I do agree, once you do it, it's very difficult to take it back. That's why you guys make $100,000 a year, you'll take those phone calls.
So what is the student charge
Right now, $4. If they do a punch card, it's $2.50, which we haven't figured out the punch card thing yet, but
Okay,
that's
right. So that option's still there, the punch card or the.
so far, but I think we gotta do like, we haven't figured it out.
Okay,
It's a big learning curve. for
well, that
somebody
would have to
my
go
age.
digital too then, is what you're
I
saying.
think so.
right? Yeah, okay. Let's call the vote. Yeah, what do you guys think? Any more discussion on that?
Oh, I don't have anything
Oh,
more to
right.
say.
Okay. All right, well, let's put it to vote. And this is gonna be 1 year trial, whatever you wanna call it. So you wanna read that again, or?
Oh,
Right there.
motion by Donner, second by Brent, to allow 9 through 12 students who participated in any activity the previous year get a student pass, and this is for a 1-year trial period. Did I get it?
Is it
I
only
think
for
the previous year, if
things?
they're new, you know, I would just say, I'd keep it more vague. And just say if they participate in any extracurricular activity.
Cause what if they're gonna be in a sport this year? They
Yeah.
don't get it, I mean,
Yeah.
And if they're new to the district this year,
right.
I would take out the prior year and just say any extracurricular activity.
But you're also gonna have people, a little more discussion, but you're gonna have kids that say, well, I didn't do anything last year, but I'm gonna do track this year.
That's why I was
Track
coming
and they
from.
don't do it.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
gamble.
yeah, see,
Yeah.
I don't care, like, I mean, who cares? It's, you know, the point is,
Just the fact that they're gonna have to go to a track
yeah,
coach.
Yeah.
say, hey,
Hey,
yeah,
I'm gonna do this.
yeah.
It probably will.
And if they
give us some
decide they don't,
accountability.
If the coach signs off on them and they don't end up coming out to the coach to pay for it, is that what you're
there
saying?
you go, there you go.
All right, so allow 9 to 12 students who participated in any activity and fill out the form. Get a free activity entrance pass for a 1-year trial period
To home games.
to home games. Okay.
Can we make one, can we say school-sponsored activity?
Yeah.
That way,
Yes.
But it should be a clear-cut list of what that is then, too. You know,
And we have that, because we have some clubs that kind of starting on their own. We have a powerlifting club. It's not really endorsed by us. We have a trap shooting club that's not really a McCray club. They just use our name, you know.
So
you're
those would
talking-
not be included, is what
Right.
you're saying, okay.
If that's what we do, the school-sponsored activities.
Okay.
And that would include Knowledge Bowl, FFA, Math League, BPA, it would include those where the kids pay a fee.
Right.
Yeah, we're trying to include kids.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Kim, give it another shot.
Allow 9 to 12 students who participate in a school-sponsored activity and fill out a form will receive an admission pass for home activities, not tournament.
What do we call the pass right now? Student.
Student activity pass.
Yeah, so I would just say we'll receive a student activity pass.
Next time, you're gonna write it out for me. Receive a student activity pass for home, non-tournament events. And this is for a 1-year trial period.
Can you say it in an English accent just so we can?
Allow non-12 students. No, I can't. I was gonna try Australian, but it's been too long since I was there, I can't do it.
All right, everybody get the gist of that? We're all right with that? All right. Those in favor of approving the 1-year trial period on those student activity passes, if you're involved in an activity, say aye. 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 Those opposed, nay. All right, good. Give that a try. Thanks, Kim. All Right,
I send it all to you tomorrow.
okay, all right. We just vote for it, tell us what we did, right, okay.
Adam
Okay,
and Judd will help me.
there it is. Okay, next we have the RFP strategic plan process. So that was these bids that we got that put together. So, okay, time to go over them, what do you think? I'm still not exactly clear on everything they're gonna do here.
Yeah, because this is new to us. but
Right, I've not been through this process before.
I tend to like MSBA's process of other things we've done with them, so I tend to lean to that for that reason.
I would agree with you. They've done an excellent job for us, and I can't get over, if you're sending in a proposal and there's mistakes in it, I'm sorry, we're
Yeah.
probably gonna get a shoddy project, so.
I did kind of like MSBA's comments about keeping in mind what schools have been going through since the pandemic and different things that maybe other businesses wouldn't be that immersed in as impacting their business, right, you know? But yes, I thought either, MSBA or the other one was the Big River Group was my second choice.
I think I too went in like MSBA's done great so far, so I was definitely leaning that direction. I think the only kind of hang up for me is I think Adam, you pointed out too, that they weren't gonna be on site. I
Right,
don't think they were ever gonna come on site, so it's all virtual, which isn't the end of the world, I don't think.
Right.
Just because they do seem to be super organized and do things really well.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, if it didn't go well, I'd be pretty surprised to see that happen.
well, they did make the comment in there that they thought turnout sometimes was better with the, using like a remote because people would tune in from home, I think is what the idea was. So, I mean, is that our experience? I don't know, but.
I think that's true, but when you use that a lot of times in the workplace, people are not as engaged
Right.
when you're not in person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it depends on how it looks, but if it's community members, voluntarily signing in to take part in it, it's different from work. You kind of have to be.
it's different if you have to engage constantly, or if you're just watching a presentation. It's kind of and picking up on information. So I'm not a fan of Zoom meetings either, when you have to have a lot of interactions, just difficult, and it seems to slow the process
Yeah,
down.
you're doing a question and answer,
Yeah,
that's slow.
But if you're just watching something and just they're presenting information to you in data, that's a little bit different.
So maybe a question to them is, how do they format their virtual, walking
Right.
through this process? Do they have chat rooms? Are you putting breakout rooms? Are they gonna have like surveys where you just, can answer things online? Because that was one of the nice things when they did it with us the last time, because we broke up in small groups, and then moved around to different table topics and whatnot, so.
Right, and I would like to know too how much they're gonna be involved, because it sounds like with the Big River Group or some of these others, they were like just doing the whole process. I'm just wondering how much MSBA is gonna expect us to do, that's gonna be on us. But that wasn't very clear to me with any of these.
I think we have to look back at our RFP that we sent out to see what our expectations were and to make sure that it matches or mirrors with what we were asking for with what their proposal was, so. Is that something that maybe you've had time to do, or?
No, I can do it. What I wanted to share is like Big River Group, if I call them, he gets back to me the next day, if it's a Friday, he'll call me on the weekend so MSBA, as I shared before, you have to email or try to call. I don't get responses back. And it's not like, so when I've dealt with Amy, Jordan, and Barb, MSBA, they get back right away, or if I call, different people, but the strategic plan group has been slower than 2 out of the 4. I haven't had a lot of conversation with number 3, but Big River Group and then Home Run Leadership, and I know there's different, for me, when I call the Big River Group, he gets back. Here's what I'm thinking, and he's really into communication, which I like, because then if I get a question from you guys, I like to get back right away, whereas MSBA is a process. But MSBA for the other groups we use is spot on, so maybe they're just busy right now, but when asked a question last week, I'm still waiting. Like, how much would it, and it's simple, how much do you charge to come and visit us 3 times? Because that's important, because we wanna go out to Maynard, we wanna be in Raymond, we wanna be in Clara City, just to be there, and then I also selfishly, I want the kids to be part of it. And I don't know, their experience is gonna be on a computer, maybe they'll do great and surprise me, but if they're here, I can actively make sure they get questions pointed at them, so their voice gets in the room. So,
Thank you for sharing that, because that's a little concerning if they're not able
they're
to
just
check
not,
you in a time.
that little subgroup, because the other groups have been great. I just feel really comfortable with number 1 or 4, but 4 is very expensive.
Yeah, that's the other part of it.
Yeah, but he brings in some stuff that we're not that big.
And have you talked with anybody from Bold? They did a big whole review last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what.
No, nobody's given me Bold's name, but the other places we followed up and, so, and we'd have the superintendent from Owatonna would be our contact with Big River. He'd be on site. It would be, it was too expensive to bring in the main guy. But at least there was somebody here and, at least a presence. I think it shows the community, hey, we're here for you, we want to listen to you. We can, if we hear something alarming, it's good, we're big enough, Keaton has pretty much everybody's phone number in there. But to call and set up a copy meeting, if I hear something at a meeting that doesn't seem kosher, but I just ideally want to get through so we can I want to start this in October. And they're filling up, and so.
Well, what do you guys think?
Well, I guess hearing what we heard about MSB not getting back to us, then maybe our second choice is the Big River Group. And if Adam, if you're comfortable working with them, then I'll make that a motion. So we can get the process rolling.
Sorry, Ken.
That's okay.
You got it.
Don't have to read it back.
Right.
Yeah, I would second that.
I was gonna say, who's gonna second it? That was, John.
Option, try.
Yeah. Celeste.
Thank you. Big River
Big
Group?
River Group, yep. As the facilitator for what their strategic plan. And Adam, if you're comfortable, you're the one that's gonna have to put in all the time. So, price wise, it's a toss up. So it'll be better, so. Okay, so I will vote on the motion to accept Big River Group as our strategic planner. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Good, we'll go with that and get that started. Thanks for your input there.
Is everybody okay then if I give them your contact information? What they explained to me is before they start, they're gonna wanna talk with you, probably not through email, so is your cell phones okay?
Surely.
Yes, okay.
Sure. Okay. Now, the last thing on our board discussion here is Kim can help me here, update on board election. We've got elections coming this November for John, Mark, and Deb in those districts 2, 4, and 5, and then of course, the other 3 of us will be in the next round. So, we had heard that we could maybe go to, what would it be,
At large.
At large, there we go. Voting scenario without districts because the legislature had made some changes. But then MSBA sounded like, yes, that's what they understood. But then when we ran it by our council, they're saying, no, I don't think that's right. Okay, so now we have to figure out what is right. So, Kim, you said you would reach out to, our local representatives and see if we can get a clarification on that. And,
Yeah, I don't think it's right, but so I can reach out to them and try to get it changed. It's kind of,
or, yeah, what the possibilities of that would be, okay.
yeah.
And I think what's driving that a little bit is that, well, last time we had an election, we had to have a write-in vote to select a board member. So it's getting harder and harder to necessarily find people from individual districts that are willing to run. So this might be a way of letting more people to the table. We wanna think about doing that at some point. So obviously, we aren't gonna be able to do anything for this next round, but we got 2 more years to the other remaining 3 of us would be coming up, so.
And I wanted to give you a heads up that the filing dates, they used to be in August, but now they're in July.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the updated election manual to come out. The Secretary of State that runs the elections. Yeah, Simons. Yep, Simons. Right. I can find him online, but I just lost his name. Hasn't come out with the updates yet. When I go and look up his,
What would be the reason to change
change what?
the filing dates, you know?
They changed it so now all the people, I think it has to do with the mail out ballots, they want more time, and so they moved everything sooner.
Okay.
Now, if they get rid of all the mail-in ballots, no, but, yeah, so, but I want to give you a heads up so you know it's coming sooner than
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So you can decide if you're running, and if not, find somebody else to
Maybe
run.
put a reminder. Because, next month's already 1 month away.
Right, that's what I
I mean,
mean,
it's
that's
coming
why I
quickly,
wanted to
yeah.
do some
Right.
heads up.
Right. All right. Okay, well, we'll just leave that where it is, yeah, nothing we can do about it, so. Let's see, okay, 7.0 business items. We're gonna have, to approve bread bids and the contract for food service. So. Again, did we get many bids? We just took the low? No.
Yeah, we took, yeah. I think we only got one bid.
Okay.
That's, you
Same.
remember, I looked at
It's
it.
the
a lot.
same carrier that we.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we've
one
used in
we've
the
had.
past, right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I need a motion to approve those bids.
So
Okay, John,
I'll second.
second by Mark, okay. Questions or discussion there? Those in favor of accepting the bread bid and contract for food service, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. All right, other upcoming board meetings listed here. So, we need a motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion. Who's gonna second it?
Second.
Carmel, right, thank you. Right, we are adjourned at 7:25. Oh, I forget to vote. Who's in favor? Aye, all righty, thank you. Anybody opposed?